In this tutorial, we're going to continue our conversation about the Python print parameters and options by discussing the sep parameter and the newline character, and how they can break the line monotony in your code. Hey, it's Chris with A to C Python Academy, with more tips and tutorials to help you be the budding Python developer we both know you can be. Thanks for being here, and if you haven't already, tap that subscribe button and don't forget to hit the notification bell icon so you don't miss a new tutorial. So in our previous video, we had an introduction to what Python statements were, how they were constructed and used. We also started the conversation about the Python parameters in discussing the end parameter and how it can be useful in controlling what to print at the end of a print statement. If you have not seen that video or would like to revisit that video, I have posted links in the description below, or for your convenience, you can click on the link in the top right of the screen for that video. Also, if you want to watch a specific section of this video, I've included timecodes in the description below. That way, you can watch exactly what you need to know. In the previous lesson, we spoke about 2 print parameters and 1 print option, and these were the end parameter, sep parameter, and newline option. In today's class, we're going to continue our discussion on Python print parameters by discussing the sep parameter and how it can be used to assist in formatting your print statements. We're also going to dive into what a newline character is and how it can be used to create and handle line breaks, new lines, or line feeds. Let's get started. So what is the sep parameter? Well, it's short for separate or separation and defines how to separate the arguments inside a print statement if there is more than one value. You would use the sep parameter in the event you wanted to print multiple values in a Python program that needed to be easily read. Currently, the sep parameter is only available in Python 3 and later. Now let's talk about an important point about the sep parameter. Python 3 defaults to a single value whitespace between values and objects. But if the sep parameter is used, the default spacing can be ignored and it will use the assigned spacing parameter defined by the sep parameter. In simple terms, the sep parameter is mainly used to format strings and add a separator between those strings. Now let's move on to the newline character. An easy way to define it would be to say that it's used to create a new line in a Python program or source code. It's made up of the escape character or backslash and the letter N. The letter N placed after the backslash character comes from the word newline. Both the backslash and the N together form a special symbol named a newline character. In essence, the occurrence of the newline character indicates that the line ends here and the remaining characters will be displayed in a new line. But that's enough of jabbering about this parameter and option. Let's see them in action. So before we get started here, I want to talk quickly on a topic that I forgot to talk about in our last video. On the screen right now, we have 2 different print statements. I have the second one commented out. So let's look at the first one here. We have a print function, and inside we have a string, hello, A to C Python Academy subscribers. And our string is enclosed in quotes. Now, if you notice here that in between each one of the words, there is a space. So if we run this, we get, hello, A to C Python Academy subscribers with the space. Now, if I was to go in and take the space out of each one of the words there, and I was to rerun that, as you can see, it jumbles all the words together with no spaces. Now, to our second print statement. As you notice, we have a print function, and inside we have the strings, and each individual string has a comma in between strings. Now, in Python, the comma can represent a space in your string. So if you have multiple strings like you have here, and you like them separated with a space, then you could use the comma. So let's just take complexity out of it and take all the extra space out of here. And if we print this, we see that we get hello space, A to C space, Python space, Academy space subscribers. Now, it wouldn't have mattered if I added a space or if I added 5 spaces, no space there. And I rerun this, we get the exact same thing. Hello space, A to C space, Python space, Academy space, subscriber. Now, we're going to take that comma out and we're going to rerun this. What we get is the exact same thing in our first example where everything is jumbled together. And that also doesn't matter if I take the spaces out or if I add 6 spaces there or 2 here and I rerun this, it does not make a difference. The comma represents the white space, and so without it, you have no spaces in between your words or your string items. So what we have on the screen right now are 2 print statements. But both print statements below are very similar, but with difference being the separator value character. So with our first print statement, we have a print function followed by a string, hello, A to C, Python Academy subscribers. Each individual word is separated by quotes. Now keep in mind that earlier in our lecture, we said that Python 3 and later defaults to a single white space between values or objects, which means that without the set parameter, normally we would have a space in between values unless formatted to do otherwise. But if the set parameter is used, the default spacing can be ignored. So at the end, we have the set parameter. And inside that parameter, we have a value of a comma. This comma will replace the white space character created by the current separator, which is the comma, in our string with a physical comma. So let's run this. Our print statement here that was separated by individual commas and has white space characters of commas are now separated by commas. And we can verify this by taking off that set parameter and rerunning the code. The commas from the set parameter are now gone, and now we just have the commas that are actually being used as white space characters. Now this is the same response that we expect from the second print statement, but instead of a comma, we have a plus separating each string value. So let's run this. And as you see, we get a very similar result in the fact that we have a separator that's a plus. And to verify, take out that separator and actually rerun the second code, we would get the print statement without the pluses and just the white space characters that are default here in this print statement. Now in our next examples, we have the same print statement, but the values of the set parameters are one in the same. In our first print statement, the value is none. Now in this example, the none value is the same as a white space character, which causes the default white space character to be used. So let's run it. And as you can see, both print statements here are exactly the same. We have a set value of none and a set value of a white space character. Both of them will do the exact same thing. Now, in some cases, you may want to get rid of the default spaces that Python creates between values and intentionally place all the characters together. And in that case, you can use what's called an empty string. As we look at the print statement, we see that the set parameter value is empty. So essentially what should happen here is all the strings in the print statement will have the default spaces removed and they will all be placed next to each other. So let's run this. And that's exactly what has happened. All the default spaces have been taken out and all the words have been jumbled together. Now let's look at a slightly different version of the set parameter. There are times in your Python code where you may need to separate different data types in your print statement. In the first print statement below, we have multiple data types separated by a comma. We start with a print statement, and inside that print statement, we have a string, a complex number, and a float. And at the end, we have a set parameter value of a comma. So let's run this. And so as you can see, all the values of this print statement are separated by a comma. Now in our second print statement, we have the string values hello world, followed by a set parameter of a white space multiplied by 10. So let's see what the output of this code is. And as you can see, we have hello and world, and in between hello and world, we have 10 spaces. So it's basically taken one space and multiplied it by 10, so that's 1 times 10, which is 10 spaces. And to verify that, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So let's move into the Newline option. As we stated earlier in our lecture, the Newline option simply creates a new line. Or if you look at the keyboard, it's the same as the Enter key. Now the first print statement group is a standard multiple print statement. You have each string value in its own line. We have hello A to C Python Academy subscribers in the first print statement, and welcome to the channel in a separate print statement. And when we print this, it should look exactly as we coded it. In the second print statement, we have both print statements in one line, but there is a Newline character separating the two print statements. So when we execute this, we should see the one line of code separated into two lines of code, just like in the first print statement group. So let's run this. Both print statements look exactly the same. If we come right here, the Newline option placed in front of the welcome to the channel created a new line for the string. Now, the third print statement group, we have each string separated into its own print statement, like in the first print group. But the difference is that we have a Newline character at the end of each print statement. So let's run this. You can see we have created a blank line after each print statement. Now let's look at these last two print statement examples. The first print statement has Newline characters in between every word. And so when we print this, the print statement creates a new line for each word. So as you can see, it's hello, Newline, A to C, Newline, Python, Newline, Academy, Newline, subscribers. And finally, when we look at the second print statement, we have a set parameter at the end that has a value of a double Newline character. So when we print this, at the end of every string in the print statement, we have a double Newline character. The first Newline character moves to the next line, and the second Newline character moves it again to the next line, where it is then printed. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you found value in it. And if you want more free of charge Python tips, tricks, and tutorials, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a thing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in next week's class.